Well, hello, my YouTube friends. So instead of telling you to go back and look at the other video, we'll just take some film clips from the previous videos to refresh your memory, all of our memory. I filmed this on November 15th, almost at noon, and I have pulled the cabinet away from the wall because my oven went bad. You remember all that. So I'm going to enlarge this view of the junction box. And remember that I hired a professional electrician, one of the bigger brand name electrical service companies in the Fresno area. They sent a technician out, and this is what he left me with. Okay, so right over here, you can see there's 3 wire nuts pointing up. Okay, that's the second circuit that we brought in, and these cloth wrapped wires, that was the existing circuit. And he didn't put a cover on it. All he did was put wire nuts on it, and they barely fit. He had all the grounds. He had the ground from the existing, the ground from the new one, the green from the stovetop, the green from the oven, a white. We had them all going into one ground, like a huge nightmare. And then we pushed it back in, and I was trusting him to do a good job. Okay, now we're going to look at another part. Hold on. Okay, I'm just showing you this because it's like a better close-up, and in fact, you can see the bare, like one of the bare ground wires right there. Okay, hold on. Okay, now this is very important, equally important. In fact, more important, well, I don't know, more, all of it very extremely important, very extremely dangerous. And I'm going to let it play for a second, and we'll see this mess, like, right down here. That right there is what we're going to be looking at. So let me let it play. Concerning this huge hole in the sheetrock. And I honestly don't remember everything. It really ain't even the hole in the sheetrock that's the issue. So I didn't recognize at first what exactly this represented, but when I had a true professional come out and help me with the wiring, he took one look at that, and he said, "Hey, we got you got to fix this with this is," and so what you're looking at right here. Okay, so this old or the original existing wire or cable or circuit, whatever you want to call it, coming off the breaker box outside. And then here's another newer but still older wire coming off the breaker box outside. And this box, steel box right here, is housing an electrical outlet on the other side of the wall, in the living room side of this interior wall. And so there's electrical tape right here. These join together, and look, there's a ground wire somewhere, and then the wires going up in there. You can see a white wire right there. And so this true professional that came out, it's my house, and he's looking at that, and he's going, this right here. And so I said, well, let's fix it. You're here, I'm paying you. Let's fix it. And so he agreed, and we're going to look at all the work that he did right here. So I just wanted, all this was to refresh your memory. Okay, hold on. Okay, for this part of the video, I'll go over some photos that I took on the day of the final installation. This was just like one more photo that I took after I had pulled the cabinet away from the wall again, in case the new electrician would need to look at like these numbers and how they were connected, which he did not need. So these numbers, that's like the only good thing that the previous electrician, that the previous idiot did for me. So anyway, okay, so, oh wait, that's Aja Wilson when she stepped on a Lego. Yeah, I was mocking her on Twitter. Okay, so all right, back. So next photo. So you can see in this photo, I had done some work. And so this 25-inch mark above that is where the cable has to come out and has to be above that 25 and below this red line to fit in between the cabinet and the top of the oven. So I had done that. This right here is where the existing cable comes in and goes to that outlet and then comes through the wall right here to make another outlet for the refrigerator. Okay, so let's see. In this one, in this one you can see that I had done some work. Like if you look at these dots or these lines right there, and there's some other ones right there, I was going to patch this area. All right, so I wanted to split the sheetrock right at the center of the stud so I could run some screws in to hold it in place. And then I squared this off right there. You can see the cable right there coming through the wall and headed toward the other outlet. I put that there to remind me. Okay, so now in this photo, progress is underway. And you can see, okay, so what's going on right here. Let me zoom in. So here's the existing, like the older cable coming in. There's the clamp, and the electrician had like pushed them up out of the way. That old school, like cloth wrapped. Here's the newer one that we brought in on that day of the previous work. It's clamped in place. Here's the conduit cable coming off the stovetop. Here's the one coming off the oven. Right, you can see those are going in. He hadn't connected them yet. I had told him that I needed, like the cable to be in this space right here, and so he suggested, well, let's get everything hooked up, get all this part completed, and then you can screw this bracket right here, because if you look like right there, there's one of there's like a sheetrock screw right there, and so this will be anchored to the studs, and the box was anchored to that right there. So we're like in progress right here. And then the next photo, so his work is done as far as this right here, right? You can see the two cables coming in nice and clean, right? The conduit coming off the two appliances, all sealed up, anchored. Now I hadn't anchored or mounted this bracket yet, and that'll be on this one. Yeah, and this is how it looked, its final resting place, as it were. And now the cable can come in between this gap right there, right? The screws are in place, so that's all solid. And then we had pushed it back into place, and we're like done. I had paid him, I gave him $160. He only wanted 100. You know, the whole thing took only like an hour, because I had done most, the prep work previous to his arrival. And so I so I gave him 160, and then he started talking to me about that other mess. And so well, what do you suggest? He's like, well, we got to fix it. We're going to pull that cabinet back out, and we got to fix it. Like, okay, yeah, all right, well, let's do it. He's like, yeah, because he didn't want to walk away and leave that there. Okay, now here is a photo of the final product. And so what we discovered was that, so this existing cable, like original to the house, and this is off a 20 amp breaker, right? And remember, all of this was out of this box in the other one and taped together, and then wires going in there. So now it's how it's supposed to be. Going in, passing through the outlet and coming back out. Is that called a daisy chain or something? And if you look right here, so here was that other, old, and that new old one that was existing, but it was just part of that mess. And you can see it's bent up right there. And we determined that this cable right here and this existing cable right here, so this one's off a 15 amp breaker, and this one's off the 20 amp breaker. And they were both live, they were joined together. So whatever was happening, like with this one, if I had overloaded the circuit and tripped the 15 amp breaker, the 20 amp breaker would still be supplying power to it. Because he asking me, I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. So yeah, that's crazy, right? And then so now this was the last photo I took. So you can see this is back good where it's supposed to be. And so this right here, so what he ended up doing, he had to go to the hardware store, he had to go to Fresno Ag and get another junction box. So he mounted the junction box against this stud, ran this into the junction box, clamped it, put wire nuts on the ends, and then put a cover on the front of it. So it's just, it's stabilized, and he put staples, he stapled it to the stud. And so it's in there, it's live, but it's not overloading any other circuits or anything like that. So this is cleaned up, and I didn't take any other pictures. Yeah, that's like the last picture. Oh no, here's another picture after I got it put back in, right? You can see that the light is on in the oven. It's like 10 minutes after 12 or something. I still got to put all that back together. Hold on. And so I just wanted to mention that was about 2.5 hours work on his part, because he knew what he was doing. He had no hesitation. He even had to go to the hardware store, like I said, and get another junction box. And he didn't want to take very much money. I paid him $160 at first, and then when we were done with repairing that other nightmare, I slapped him 2 more $100 bills. So I paid him $360 for 2.5 hours work. But the peace of mind and that he gave me, and the fact that he didn't just look at that and well, it hadn't burned down yet, so you'll probably be okay, or any of that business, well worth it to me, to pay him more than he was asking for. Plus, if I ever need his help again, he'll remember that I pay well. He won't think to himself, oh yeah, this guy tried to shortchange me at every step. But well worth it. I'm so happy that I was put in touch with this guy. Okay, one more thing, hold on. And now that the oven's fixed, so I went shopping, dude, I went crazy in the frozen food section. Frozen pie, frozen lasagna, what's this? Frozen bread, more frozen lasagna, frozen pot pies, frozen chicken casserole, chicken wings, tater tots, more chicken wings. Look what I got going on right now. I got a meatloaf in there. Man, having an oven back after months of not having one, it's glorious. All right, my friends, you have a good day. Oh, yeah. Internal temperature, 160 degrees. Let it sit for a couple minutes. Oh, yeah, my first home-baked meal with the new oven. All right, my friends, you take care.